Welcome back to another episode of All Access with the Profs. I am your host, Jordan Weisinger, pleased to bring you more coverage of our great athletes and clubs here at Rowan University. It's March, so let's march, or should I say run, right into our first segment, Rowan Track and Field. The men's and women's indoor track teams had successful NJAC championships. The men's team won the NJAC title, and the women's team finished runners-up to TCNJ. Both teams attended the Fast Track Last Chance meet at the Ocean Breeze Complex in Staten Island, New York. Hence the name Last Chance. It quite literally is the last chance for both teams to get reps in before they gear up for the All-Atlantic Region Track and Field Conference Championships this Friday and Saturday at Ithaca College. Let's see how each team performed in one of New York's 5 boroughs. Here is Aiden Ray to tell us more.
The Rowan men's and women's indoor track and field team both competed up in Staten Island, New York at the Ocean Breeze Complex in the Fast Track Last Chance meet on Friday, February 28th. And both teams were able to put up some great accomplishments and numbers this weekend. So starting off with the men's side, rookie Noah Wampole on the high jump got 1.99 meters as record. And then on the pole vault for Max Owens, he got a 4.60 meters, which placed him second. And then for Caleb Clevenger, he got under 9-minute mark in the 3,000 meter PR. So some great numbers and key accomplishments this weekend for the men's team. And then going over to the women's team, it was Jenna Spadaro and Zoe Dowling, who both got new PRs on the mile run, and then Lexi Bay, who got a 15.38 on the weight shot, which finished her 5th, and then 11.49 meters on the shot, which finished her 3rd, which were the key highlights for the women's team. And now in the home stretch of this season for the Rowan women's and men's indoor track and field team, they'll go up to Ithaca, New York next weekend for the AAR TFC Championships, which will run from Friday through Saturday as they look to keep putting up great numbers once again. This is Aiden Ray, your Rowan women's and men's indoor track and field reporter here on All Access with the Profs, and we will send it right back to Jordan Weisinger in the studio.
Rowan softball entered the season ranked 3rd in the NFCA preseason top 25 coaches poll. So far, they've played their first 4 games of the season, and they've been doubleheaders. They played 2 games against SUNY Oneonta last Wednesday and 2 games against SUNY New Paltz. Rowan finished last season 41-10, winning the NJAC championship, sweeping the field in the NCAA regional round, and defeating Christopher Newport in the Super Regionals before falling to East Texas Baptist in the D3 College World Series. The ladies on the diamond certainly have championship or bust aspirations. Let's see how they start out their 2025 campaign. Skylar Sweeney is at the softball field to tell us more.
Rowan softball opened the 2025 season in dominant fashion, sweeping doubleheaders against SUNY Oneonta and SUNY New Paltz to start 4-0. Against Oneonta, Riley Lutz threw a 1-hit shutout with 9 strikeouts and a 4-0 win, while Mackenzie Melvin homered and drove in 3. Rowan followed with a 7-2 victory as Peyton McNair went 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and Emily McCutcheon secured the win. On Saturday, the Profs rolled past New Paltz with back-to-back 8-0 wins. A 6-run 5th sealed Game 1, highlighted by Cammie Morgan's walk-off RBI single. In Game 2, Abigail Pulowski and Holly Marcus combined for 6 RBIs, and McCutcheon tossed a 2-hit shutout. With a perfect 4-0 start, Rowan now heads to the Grand Slam Triangle Classic in North Carolina, looking to maintain their success. I'm Skylar Sweeney with All Access with the Profs. Jordan, back to you.
Rowan baseball finished last season 29-15 and were runners-up to Denison in the NCAA Regional in Granville, Ohio. A disappointing end to what was a promising season in hopes of a D3 tournament run. 2024 NJAC first-team all-conference player Tyler Cannon and 2024 NJAC Pitcher of the Year Mike Shannon are both back as graduate students for the Profs as Rowan opened the 2025 season with a doubleheader last Saturday and a 3rd and final game on Sunday against Hampton-Sydney in Virginia. Let's see if the Profs can start this championship hopeful season with a string of W's. Our very own Connor McAndrew has more from the Diamond.
Thank you, Jordan. The Rowan Profs baseball team kicked off their season with a 2-1 series victory over Hampton-Sydney in Virginia last weekend. In Game 1, Rowan dominated, winning 8-3, reigning NJAC Pitcher of the Year Mike Shannon through 6 strong innings, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits with 6 strikeouts. The Profs offense backed him up with 8 runs on 11 hits, including the first home run of the season by third baseman Braden Davis. Game 2 was a different story. Rowan led 4-2 after 5 innings, thanks to a solid outing from Stephen Mayers, who gave up 1 run on 3 hits with 5 strikeouts, but after he was pulled in the 6th inning, Hampton City erupted for 7 runs in the 7th inning to take a 10-5 lead. Rowan added 2 in the 9th, but fell short, losing 12-7. Game 3 saw an early 1-0 lead for Hampton Sydney, but Rowan's bats came alive, scoring 6 runs in the next 4 innings. They added 2 more in the 8th, securing an 8-2 win. Zach Coluccio tossed 4 innings, allowing 3 hits with 3 strikeouts and 3 walks. Rowan outscored Hampton Sydney 23-17, totaling 35 hits in the series win. They're back here on Wednesday, hosting John Jay at the Nets. For All Access with the Profs, I'm Connor McAndrew.
Rowan lacrosse opened up their season with a dominating win over Ursinus 21-5. Since then, they have played 2 more games, one being last Wednesday against Drew and last Saturday against number 17 ranked Stevens, both of which were played here in Glassboro at the Rowan Soccer and Lacrosse Complex. If they can pick up these 2 wins, it'll be the first time since the year 2000 that Rowan lacrosse started 3-0. This might make some of you watching at home feel a little bit old, but not a single member of our crew or talent at All Access was even alive the last time that happened. Let's hope for the first time in 25 years it was accomplished. Stephen Wilczynski has more on those 2 games.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm Stephen Wilczynski here at the Soccer Lacrosse Complex. On Wednesday, Molly Green wrote her name in Rowan lacrosse history as she now holds the record for most draw controls. The women's lacrosse team is now 3-0 to start off their 2025 season after taking down Drew University 22-3 and number 17 ranked Stevens 13-6. Profs' offense has been nothing short of unstoppable as they have a number of weapons who can go absolutely nuclear at any given moment. Their defense is just as good as they have not allowed more than 6 goals in any single game. The Profs wasted no time against Drew University as Molly Green scored 10 seconds into the game. Green would go on to score 5 goals and have 3 assists. Elena Corson had herself a personal best 8 goals, just 1 shy of the women's lacrosse single game record. The Profs had 31 shots on goal compared to Drew's 11. On Saturday, women's lacrosse faced their first ranked opponent of the year. After allowing a quick goal from Stevens' Emily Leiby, the Profs got down to business. The team was leading 8-1 when they allowed their second goal. Goalkeeper Mel Rogers managed 16 saves in the Profs' victory. Callista Burke was the leading scorer for the Profs with 5 goals. Through 2 weeks of play, the Profs have proven that they are not to be taken lightly. They are serious contenders for an NJAC title. However, they have to wait a few more weeks for in-conference play as they will take on Muhlenberg College tomorrow and we'll be back at home next Tuesday to take on Kenyon College. Take it away, Jordan.
Every year around this time, people around the United States check their calendar to see when we have to turn the clocks back an hour. Here at Rowan Television Network, we turn to our calendar to check in with Rowan Athletics with Jacob Michaud.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm Jacob Michaud, bringing you this week's calendar segment for Rowan Athletics. It's officially time to flip the calendar over to March, which is a month full of action, anticipation, and excitement. Without further ado, let's get right into it. For starters, tomorrow's baseball game against John Jay College will very likely be postponed to a later date, so stay tuned on the lookout for that. One thing to note, though, however, is that whenever this game is played, it will be baseball's last home game until March 26th. So I can assure you that the Profs will be ready to bring the energy for the crowd before they enter a home hiatus. On Thursday, women's lacrosse will travel to Muhlenberg at 4 p.m. They're going to take them on there, and the Profs will be entering this game after earning a statement win in last week's All-Access Game of the Week against number 17 ranked Stevens 13-6. And after just 3 games, the Profs have accumulated a goal differential of plus 42. However, the Muhlenberg Mules are no slouches as they will also enter this game with a 3-0 record and a goal differential of plus 33. Not to mention that this game is also Muhlenberg's home opener. This ought to be a great matchup where someone will see their very first loss of the season. And then on Friday, softball will head to William Peace University in Raleigh, North Carolina to participate in the Grand Slam Triangle Classic. They'll play a total of 4 games, 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday. They'll start things off by facing Piedmont at noon, followed by a duel against Arcadia at 2 o'clock. And just like lacrosse, they've shown complete dominance in their opening games. The Profs have only surrendered a grand total of 2 runs in their first 4 matchups, while bringing home 27 of their own. Men's and women's track and field will also be getting busy on Friday, as you can see here, and as they'll head to Ithaca College for day 1 of the All-Atlantic Indoor Track and Field Regional Championships. Say that 5 times fast. The women will look to finish on the podium for the 3rd year in a row, while the men have a title to defend and are seeking to come out as champions for the 2nd straight time and the 6th time overall. And that will be taking place at 2 o'clock. And as usual, Saturday will be filled with loads of action. Softball will start things off with an early morning meeting against Marymount at 9:30, and they will round out the Grand Slam Triangle Classic against North Carolina Wesleyan at noon. Baseball will also join in on the fun as they'll square off in a doubleheader against the McDaniel Green Terror in Westminster, Maryland. The Green Terror will be entering this doubleheader with a record of below 500, while the Profs can climb up to as high as 5-1 with a sweep here and a win against John Jay. And if that wasn't enough for you, don't forget that track and field will have day 2 of the All-Atlantic Indoor Track and Field Regional Championships at 2 o'clock again. While every team has a lot to look forward to this week, the Michaud seal of approval for Game of the Week is going to have to go to softball in the Grand Slam Triangle Classic. 4 games against 4 rather unfamiliar opponents in just 2 days is tough for any team, but if anyone can do it, it's our very own number 3 ranked softball team. They'll have a great opportunity to prove why they're number 3, and this will be the perfect chance for the Profs to defeat Piedmont for the first time in program history. We'll see if Riley Lutz can keep her runless streak going, and we'll see if the southpaw Emily McCutcheon can continue to dominate. Also look for Mackenzie Melvin to explode on the offensive end as she leads the Profs with 14 total bases and 5 RBIs in just 4 games. That's all I have for the calendar segment for this week. There's certainly a lot of great matchups, but none better than our very own all-access debate. It's time to pass the baton to Logan Stewart for this week's debate. Take it away, Logan.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm Logan Stewart, joined by Jake Clark, Shane Alexa, and Leo West. Micaiah is out this week. She will be back with us next week. And we're here for another week of the debate segment. And what a start for softball and baseball, with both teams having a combined record of 7-1 to start the season. Softball came into the season ranked number 3 in the nation, while baseball walks in at number 23. So, guys, who do you think is going to have the better season?
Well, it's going to have to be baseball for me. Obviously, the women's team, the softball team, was great last year. Men's team was too. They couldn't get it done in the NJAC, but I think they'll get it done this year.
I have to disagree. I mean, it's very clearly the women's team. I mean, that number 3 ranking doesn't happen for a reason. Last year, they won the NJAC, they won the Glassboro Regional, they won the Super Regional against Christopher Newport, and they won 2 games down at the College World Series in Texas. I mean, and they're bringing a lot of the lineup players from that team, along with the 2 pitchers and Lutz and McCutcheon, back for this year. It's a very successful team that had success last year, and they're going to have success this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what has been so successful for the men's team is Coach Mike Dixon, who enters his 11th season here with the Profs. He's led the Profs to a couple super regional appearances, and before his time at Rowan, he was a JUCO World Series champion twice.
I mean, great coaching. You want to talk about great coaching? I mean, the women's softball team, Kim Wilson, 29 seasons, multiple super regional appearances, multiple regional appearances, a couple College World Series appearances, and last year coached the team to a 41-10 record. They're bringing back 6 players from the starting lineup in their last win down in Texas, and both pitchers. I mean, both teams are bringing back their cores, and they both have great coaching, but the women's team with that core had more success last year than the men's team. They earned that number 3 ranking for a reason. The men's team down at 23. don't get me wrong, I hope the men's team has a lot of success, but there's just no way that you guys can tell me that the women's softball team on paper will not have more success this year.
First off, there's an X factor on every team. That's what I believe. And Mike Shannon is the X factor for this men's team. Think about this. He had a 0.89 ERA in the NJAC last year. That's unheard of. It's unheard of.
That is very much unheard of, and he actually looks to continue his success into this season, too. He's already started off with a win, and he was the innings leader last year. So he's just a really impressive pitcher who I think can lead the Profs, into, hopefully, a College World Series appearance.
I mean, when you move to this year, the women's softball team is 4-0 with a +25 run differential, and they're a complete team. That lineup from top to bottom is dangerous. The 1 through 9 hitter, they have multiple different arms that they can go to. Obviously, we talked about Lutz and McCutcheon, who were really big for them last year. And we're talking about an ERA. McCutcheon with a 20 innings pitched in a single game. That's a Division III record. And also a 1.01 ERA and 173 innings pitched. Just insane stuff for her. She's back this year. Lutz is back this year. And they have that lineup. The women's team, again, number 3 in the nation for a reason. I can't stress it enough. They are going to have a lot of success this year. And I think they just ultimately get further in the men's team.
Yeah, for me, I think baseball is an underdog. And I think that's why they're going to succeed. They're ranked number 23, and I think they're going to be a big underdog, and I think they're going to go all the way.
Yeah, look, these underdogs are hungry. I really agree with Shane's point right there. And the biggest underdog of them all is Tyler Cannon. Top 5 NJAC hitter right now. He's got 200 career home runs, was a first-team All-NJAC selection last year, and I think he looks to repeat, maybe even become an All-American selection, and that's what he was last year as well, as he was a Rawlings All-American team member.
I kind of just want to jump back to the point that the women's softball team's 4-0 this year. They played SUNY New Paltz in a doubleheader. They beat them in 5 innings in both games, 8-0. And that's a team that competed at the Glassboro Regional last year, had a record of 36-8. They're playing quality opponents already, and they're mercy ruling them. They're beating them in 5 innings. They don't even need to go the full 7. So while you mentioned, they're the underdogs, but the women's softball team, they're the clear favorites. And I think for that reason, you got to go with who had the better showing last year on the women's softball team.
I understand that, but I think that they're a team that can score a lot of runs. We've seen that, saw that a lot last year, Leo. They're a team that can score a lot of runs, and they can compete with a lot of high-leverage arms.
Yeah, their offense has been really impressive, too. And like I said with Mike Dixon before, he's racked up over 275 wins as the head coach for Rowan and the manager as well. He also happens to be the assistant athletic director, so he's got his fingerprints all over this organization. And like I said at the beginning, I think he's going to be a real key factor to why we see baseball be successful and maybe even more successful than this women's team. And I don't want to take anything away from softball because they are a really impressive team, and I had the pleasure of watching them. But I think when it's all said and done, when we go to June, I think the men's team will have a better season.
Yeah, there's no way, and on paper, there's no way that you can say that. Don't get me wrong. I want to preface the men's team. I hope they have success, and I really hope they prove me wrong. But number 3 in the nation went to the College World Series last year. They're bringing the core back. And, I mean, you want to talk about, I was with you last week, Leo, but this week there's simply no Leo Westbond this week. I mean, a team that's 4-0, they have a +25 run differential. They're just the clear favorite. Again, number 3 in the nation for a reason.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a wonderful season for baseball and softball this year. Well, that's going to do it for us on the debate segment this week. And with that, we are going to send it over to Aiden Doherty, who's going to dive deep into Riley Lutz's magnificent performance on Doc Analysis. Take it away, Doc.
Thanks, Logan. I'm Aiden Doherty here on Doc Analysis here on All Access with the Profs. And back in the studio, you guys debated what spring team will be more successful. It's hard to go against a team that has a shutdown pitcher like Riley Lutz. We'll dive into her performance against SUNY Oneonta. Let's get right to it. First batter of the game, senior versus senior, and Lutz overpowers with a fastball to start her season. Lutz is coming off back-to-back years with 314 strikeouts combined. Now we go to the next batter. Lutz starts with an up and in heater in the 0-1 pitch. And now Lutz is up in the count. And what's that saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Lutz gets back-to-back swinging strikeouts to start the season off hot. We jump to the second inning, and that heater climbs the ladder again for another swing and miss. The offense still only has 1 run, but Riley Lutz is dealing. Top of the third, 0-1 pitch, and again the heater is blown by the hitter. It's just the 7th collegiate at-bat for the opposition in Kayla Keene, and Lutz shows some veteran skills. Here we see a sequence with Lutz trying to go away on the 0-2 pitch, just missing. So let's go back to what worked once again. High cheddar as Lutz winds up and picks up another strikeout, her 5th of the game. Next batter is going to be a slap-hitting left-hander, and they want it on the inside part of the plate. Lutz, who is a veteran pitcher like we mentioned earlier, knows that, and she's going to paint the outside part of the plate, making it impossible to hit with the momentum of that slap hitter. And now, let's jump to the 7th. It wasn't just power, it was also finesse. 8 strikeouts, and you can make it 9, as Lutz paints the corner like Picasso to pick up her final strikeout of the game, tying a season high from a year ago. Now the final batter of the game. There were no hits until the 7th, and Lutz gets it off the end of the bat for the final out to Peyton McNair to end her 7-inning and 1-hit complete game shutout. Lutz has 12 innings pitched without allowing an earned run throughout her first 2 games. Riley Lutz was named NJAC Pitcher of the Week after her 2 performances as the team starts 4-0. They'll be tough to beat. But for myself, Aiden Doherty, here on Doc Analysis on All Access with the Profs, now sending it over to Gerasimos Juravasilio. And I heard he's doing fencing. Is that right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's interactive segment on All Access with the Profs. I am Gerasimos Juravasilio. I am here with Connor Sarevic, the head of public relations for the fencing club. So Connor, thank you so much for having us here. And
thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And first off, how long has this been a club at Rowan? Because I've never heard of the fencing club.
Well, the fencing club's been around for about 10 years now. Our coach is actually a founding member. I personally have been here since last year. It's a great time.
Do you guys have any events that you guys do besides obviously fencing in here?
We're looking into hosting our own local competitions, which are only open to USA Fencing members. However, we are giving out memberships to members of the club if people are interested.
Awesome. And how long have you been fencing for?
Personally, about 3 years now.
All right, awesome. So I know you have some stuff to show us here, some equipment. This is like the big part of fencing, so please feel free to show us here.
Well, first of all, this is the uniform. Underneath this gray jacket, there's another white jacket, and underneath that, there's an underarm protection on the dominant hand. This is the pants, and if you please.
Oh man, here it is, the big stuff, people.
This is the mask, this is the glove.
I'm sorry, but it looks like a Squid Games mask.
Does it?
When you put it on.
I never thought of that. But all of this is metal, so it's conductive. All of the points are scored using electric current that runs through the box, to the reels, to the body cords.
Wait, there's electricity?
Yes.
Involved?
And it runs all the way through the weapons. This weapon here is a saber, and if you would please.
Wait, hold on. I gotta hold this thing.
You may hold it.
I gotta hold this thing. Oh my goodness, look at this. Bam! I feel like a Jedi. All right.
There are two others.
All right.
This is the lefty. This is the foil.
Okay.
And this is an epee.
An epee and a foil. Okay.
Yes.
And what's this guy?
This one's a saber.
All right, so that's the lightsaber. Got it.
And now, would you like to see some footwork?
I want to see it. Let's see it, yeah.
I'll move this out of the way for now. So the basis of most fencing is basically 3 moves. First, you want to get into like a light squat.
All right.
Toes pointed forward.
Yep.
Now, you just push back with your front leg.
Push back?
And you just push back and forward.
Okay.
Back and forth, back and forth.
So that's when I'm going to stab, I go forward, right?
Uh-huh. And then the last thing you want to do is a lunge.
Okay.
Where you just push
that's
off
the
with
big
your front
attack,
leg.
right? Is that the killer move?
Give it a try.
All right. Bam!
Nice.
Right, that? All
Yeah.
right. All right, sweet. So are you about to, you want to show this for us?
Yes.
With us?
Let's
a
demonstrate
big bout
bout.
here? All right. Let's see this bout.
And so what we want to do now is we're going to hook up to our equipment. And we're going to hook up our reels. And we're just going to do a simple touch to 3.
I can't believe
We're gonna run 3
electricity is
points.
involved here. Don't electrocute yourselves.
Back in the days, they used to use chalk.
All right, here we go. I'll put this down. I don't want to hurt anyone. This stuff looks dangerous. These masks are scary. If I ever saw one of these people running after me, I'd run the other way. Like scarier than one of those defensive linemen in football coming after you.
All right. You might take a step back.
Ooh, I got to take a step back? Okay.
You're in the danger zone.
Okay, danger zone. All right, let's see this.
Ready? Fence.
Ooh.
Attack, push, counter-attack, push. Wait. Guard.
I don't know what he
Ready,
just said. I don't know what he just said. Oh!
Attack, parallel, push.
I don't know what he said.
Guard.
I don't know what he
Ready,
said.
fence.
Oh!
Attack, push, counter-attack. 3, 0, 5.
All right, so you won.
Yes.
All right.
That's a very
I don't know
short
anything
bout.
you just said, but it sounded like he did good. Okay.
Yeah, it's all in French.
All right, so thank you so much for demonstrating here. That looks amazing. How can people get involved with the fencing club? Is it for all skill levels?
Yes, we accept anyone regardless of skill level, and we are available Mondays 8:15 to 9:30, same time for Wednesdays, and 2 to 4 on Sundays.
Awesome. Connor, thank you so much for
Thank you so
having
much
us
for
again.
having us.
Again, Connor Srevic, the head of PR for the Fencing Club. I've been Gerasimus Gervasiliou. I'm going to send it back to our studio.
Have you ever wondered what goes on in the life of a Rowan athlete? Maybe you wondered how they juggle going to class, practicing, and social life. Well, you're in luck. For the first time this season, Jake Kitchen will take a deep dive into the day in a life of a Rowan lacrosse midfielder, Leah Corkill.
Hello everyone, I'm Jake Kitchen. This is the Day in the Life. We'll be going around seeing how student athletes live their daily lives. Today I'm brought here with Leah Corkill, junior midfielder for a women's lacrosse team. Leah, thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to see, I bet a lot of people also want to see, what does a normal student athlete's day look like? So can you explain, run down of a normal day?
Sure. So at 8 a.m. we have lift at SB Gym, and then after that I go to class. And then I have a little break in between, so that's when I'll get all my homework done, have lunch, and then at 2 I'll get ready for practice, and that runs between 2:30 and 5. And then after I have dinner, get some more homework done, and then go to bed for the next day.
So you said you lift early in the morning. What time is that usually around?
Yeah, so we lift between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. depending on if we have class. So we have 2 groups. We have one at 8 a.m. and then one at 8:30.
Hard work party time on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hard work party time.
So what does a normal lift look like for you guys? Do you guys do arms on certain days, legs? How does that work?
Yeah, so we do arms on Wednesdays, legs on Fridays, and then we do our full body on Mondays. So hang cleans, bench, squat. So that depends on the day.
And you have class after, you said, right?
Correct.
So what is your major?
My major is exercise science, so I want to be a physical therapist.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And then you said you have practice later on?
Yes.
So what does a normal practice look like for you guys?
Sure. So we get ready, so we go to the locker room at 2, and then we go out to the field at 2:30 or 2:15, and then we start warm up at 2:30. So that takes about a half hour. We want to get a good warm up in for any injury preventions. So we do that, and then at 3 is when we start our practice. So we usually split up for defense and offense, and then we do our own thing. And then we come in and we can either scrimmage, run our play sets, things like that.
Okay. And do you eat lunch before or after practice?
Yeah, so it depends on the day. I have class right beforehand sometimes, so it's usually just like a quick grab and go from the student center, or I will go home, eat, like maybe just like a quick little brunch. So.
Yeah, and you say grab and go from the student center. What is your favorite meal from the student center?
Probably Freshens. The bowls are really good there.
I don't know about that. Jersey Mike's.
Okay.
Any Jersey Mike's listeners out there? I got you. So you have lunch, okay, practice, dinner after that, I would say?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, what happens?
So I eat dinner. I just go home for that, and then usually I'll just hang out with my teammates, roommates, and then just bang out some homework.
Nice. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's a day in the life of Leah Corkill, again, junior midfielder for a women's lacrosse team. Leah, thank you very much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Back to the studio, Jordan.
For our next segment, Keegan Thompson will be interviewing the 4th most winningest coach in D3 softball history in his new segment, The Perch.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of The Perch, where we give you a top-down perspective on the culture built by the coaches and leaders of your Rowan Profs. My name is Keegan Thompson. I'm happy to be your host this season, and for our first edition, we have a very special feature for you. Joining me today is a woman who needs no introduction, but does definitely deserve one. This is the 29-year boss of the Rowan softball team, the fourth winningest coach in the NCAA Division III softball's history. Coach Kim Wilson, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing lovely, Coach. Thank you for giving us your time today. First question, how did you build such a winning culture within this program over the past nearly 3 decades?
We were able at Rowan to recruit really good kids, and our academics give us an opportunity to recruit kids that meet our standard academically, and then athletically we're able to recruit kids that are just at the next level.
Is there anything that you encourage the players to do when they're not practicing for games or anything like that? Anything when they leave the field that they are able to bring with them during game day processes?
We want them to be good citizens and do all the little things that we do here. They need to support each other. They need to support our university as a whole, the Glassboro area, all those things. And when they're on the field, I think they do a really good job of that. You know, it overflows into the university as a whole, and I think it's super important.
So you're seeking a third straight run into the College World Series. What's the momentum or the idea that you're having your team carry with you at the start of the season?
This year is this year, and those years, those were great. And it's a day-by-day process. We can't be looking at the end of the season. We have to stick with what we're doing, the little things right, the things that have gotten us there. But every year is it's a different team. What they did last year and accomplished last year can't be changed, and it has no reflection on what we're doing this year, other than we have a high standard and we have expectations of the way they carry themselves and how they play the game, and it will be successful, and they keep our alumni proud and our university proud, and and their coaches and family.
Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us today. And thank you all for watching the first edition of The Perch. And we're going to go back to you in the studio.
It was an eventful week in Rowan sports. Let's transition now to the professional sports world with Owen Caldwell.
Hey everyone, it's me, Owen Caldwell, once again with your All Access with the Profs weekly sports update. If you want to know some of the biggest news from the sports world that happened this past week, then this is just the place. This week we will focus more on some storylines from individual athletes. And first, after much speculation, the Philadelphia 76ers announced this past Friday that Joel Embiid would be out for the rest of the season due to persisting pain in his left knee. He will finish this season with just 19 games played, but in those 19 games, he was efficient, averaging just under 24 points per game. And staying in the NBA, this time with a little bit more positive news, Steph Curry last week. Take a look at this picture right here. 56 points, 12 three-pointers against the Orlando Magic. 6 points shy of his career high of 62, which he achieved way back in 2021. And according to ESPN research, this was Curry's 14th 50-point game in his career, tying LeBron James and Rick Barry for 7th most in the history of the NBA. And how about this? 9 of those 14 games have come at age 30 or older for Curry, the most in NBA history. Just a remarkable accomplishment for one of the greatest players the game of basketball has ever seen. And we have one more thing to touch on. How do you think Deebo Samuel looks in Washington Commanders colors? I think he looks pretty good. Well, that's the uniform that he's going to be wearing now, as he was traded this past Saturday from the San Francisco 49ers to the Washington Commanders. Washington now has Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Samuel to lead their offense, and the team is active already after making it all the way to the NFC Championship game this past season. So that'll do it for this week's edition of the Weekly Sports Update. Join me, Owen Caldwell, every week on All Access with the Profs for some of the biggest sports news. Now we'll send it back to Jordan.
Thank you, Owen, for those updates. The NFC East is going to be a bloodbath next year, with the Commanders trying to go band for band with Philly. Don't count out the Cowboys, and I heard the Giants could be in play for the #1 overall pick in Aaron Rodgers. Green 19! Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of All Access with the Profs. We only have one more episode before spring break, so make sure to tune in. Same time and place. As Billy Joel once said, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. I'm Jordan Weisinger, signing off.